Good afternoon, YouTube viewers. It is February 3rd, 2015, and I wanted to say a little prayer to myself or quietly before I tackle some of the Book of Enoch. I wanted to bring to light some things that the Messiah was wanting me to talk about. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, around there, and I am at the Veterans Memorial in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'd like to come before you, Lord, and ask to humble me in meekness, to keep me strong and align my will with the depths of my soul, my thoughts, my words, with your will. You must remember that you are not dead on the cross, but have risen and will come again. In the name of Ahaya Bash Messiah. Bless this episode, Lord. Alrighty. Some things I wanted to, and I don't know if this stuff has been brought up before, but I'm going to talk about certain things. First, I'm going to read out of the Book of Enoch. Specifically about the gates of the sun and the moon. If you noticed last night or yesterday, the moon was as bright in the daytime and full. Now, I don't know if it was a new moon or a full moon, but this comes to light in Enoch as was prophesied by him. And let me see if I can find it here. And I have, pardon me, because I have allergies, and so please forgive my runny nose. My nose running. Let's see if I can find it. I should have found it before I turned the camera on. Okay, here we have it. I'm going to read The Revolution of the Lights. Okay. And I don't know if you can hear me very well. I'm going to go ahead and hit this up. See if it'll stay up. Okay. Because the speaker's back there. Okay, 72:1 out of Enoch, the book of the revolutions of the lights of heaven. Each as it is, according to their classes, according to their period of rule and their times, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months. That Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, and is their leader, showed to me. And this is, of course, Enoch, who is me, in reference. Okay, and he showed me all their regulations, exactly as they are, for each year of the world, and forever, until the new creation shall be made, which will last forever. And this is ... people, okay? And this, and 72:2, and this is the first law of the lights. The light called the sun, its rising is in the gates of heaven that are towards the east, and its setting is in the western gates of heaven. And I saw 6 gates from which the sun rises, and 6 gates in which the sun sets. And the moon also rises and sets in those gates, and the leader of the stars together with those whom they lead. There are 6 in the east and 6 in the west, all exactly in place, one next to the other, and there are many windows to the south and the north of those gates. And first there rises the greater light, named the sun, and its disk is like the disk of heaven, and the whole of it is full of fire, which gives light and warmth. The wind blows the chariots on which it ascends, and the sun goes down in the sky and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is led so that it comes to the appropriate gate and shines in the sky. In this way it rises in the first month in the large gate, namely, it rises through the fourth of those 6 gates that are towards the east. And in that fourth gate, through which the sun rises, is in the first month, there are 12 window openings, from which, whenever they are opened, flames come out. So here you have in Enoch, you specifically have them very detailed account that the sun is fire. It has flames. And you will see, I don't know, someone try to claim that the sun is just magnetic on YouTube. Some scientist, who knows if it's NASA, who knows who it is. I don't really like to reference who it is because they are wrong if they're contradicting what is said in the Bible. The Bible is the truth, and we all know this. Now, 72:8, I will continue. When the sun rises in heaven, it goes out through that fourth gate for 30 days, and exactly in the fourth gate. In the west of heaven, it goes down. And in those days, the days grow daily longer, and the night grows nightly shorter, until the 30th morning. And on that day, the day becomes longer than the night by a double part, and the day amounts to exactly 10 parts, and the night amounts to 8 parts. And the sun rises from that fourth gate and sets in the fourth gate, and returns to that fifth gate in the east for 30 mornings, and it rises from it and sets in the fifth gate. And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts, and the day amounts to 11 parts, and the night becomes shorter and amounts to 7 parts. And the sun returns to the east and comes to the fifth gate, and rises and sets in the sixth gate for 31 mornings, because of its time. Oops. Sorry about that. All right. And the sun rises up so that the day may grow shorter and the night longer. And the sun returns to the east and comes to the sixth gate and rises from it and sets for 30 mornings. And when 30 mornings have been completed, the day becomes shorter by exactly 1 part. And the day amounts to 11 parts, and the night to 7 parts. And the sun goes out from the west through that sixth gate and goes to the east and rises in the fifth gate for 30 mornings, and it sets in the west again in the fifth gate in the west. On that day the day becomes shorter by 2 parts, and the day amounts to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. And the sun rises from that fifth gate and sets in the fifth gate in the west, and rises in the fourth gate for 31 mornings because of its sign, and sets in the west. So we know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. But what we are not being told, what is omitted from the truth, is that there are actually gates that it comes out of and gates that it sets into in the realm of the spiritual realm. And so let me continue. On that day the day becomes equal with the night and is of equal length, and the night amounts to 9 parts and the day to 9 parts. And the sun rises from that gate and sets in the west, and returns to the east and rises in the third gate for 30 mornings, and sets in the west in the third gate. So it sounds like the gates correlate with one another. And the sun rises from that third gate and sets in the third gate in the west, and returns to the east. And the sun rises in the second gate in the east for 30 mornings, and likewise it sets in the second gate in the west of heaven. And on that day the night amounts to 11 parts, and the day to 7 parts. So you have a longer night than you do a day. Now, I have not correlated this with daylight savings time, but I will say this for sure, because I'm not a mathematician and I'm not a chemist, and I can say right now what they represent and how they're representing themselves and how they're lying through their teeth about things. I wouldn't want to be one. I mean, I admire their having been born bright, but to turn around and either ignore the truth or use chemistry and science to discount the truth, well, you know, they'll meet their maker. So, I mean, he made them too. So, and he blessed them with a gift that not many are blessed with. But to use it to disprove the Bible and the Word it's on them. It's their choice. Peer pressure is only supposed to exist, I thought, in grade school. But it seems that the brotherhoods face it more the higher the ladder they climb. So I guess we should pray for them and hope that they realize that the Redeemer will return, and they're going to have to face him ultimately. So, and on that day the night becomes shorter and amounts to 9 parts, and the day amounts to 9 parts, and the night becomes equal with the day, and the year amounts to exactly 364. Let me repeat that. 364 days. Okay. Now, that's out of Enoch 73:32, 73.32, okay? And this is what happens, and the brothers from GOC, or Gathering of Christ Church, have done the math, and they very clearly state, now I don't know where exactly in the Bible it states, but it does say that if you okay, since they messed up the number, since they added a day to the year, the amount of days to the year, they have profaned God's Sabbaths. So, if that is certainly intentional, and it was important enough for the elite to do, so to throw us off. And my point meaning that if you profane a day of God's that he wants us to rest on, you're also going to tell us that Christmas is his birthday when it is not his birthday. And you're going to tell us that Halloween is a holiday that we should celebrate. And here again goes the peer pressure. The families expect us to celebrate these pagan holidays. And that is not, nowhere in the Bible does it say that you have to celebrate Christ's birthday. Was it a special day? Of course it was. Our Redeemer was born on that day. But very many people have done the math, and I will say very soundly that it was in September that he was born, probably, more than likely. And who knows the exact day. But that's not the day that the Bible specifically tells us to celebrate. And certainly not by buying each other gifts and putting material pressure on one another to feel obligated to buy and purchase. Because as I'm coming to understanding about these things, I'll cite Zen Garcia. He says that before mankind had fallen, Satan had already fallen, of course, and he used commerce within the heavens to divert the angels or whoever from seeking the truth. And it is my understanding, as the Maker has shown me, has revealed to me, that the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is exactly that. When you're watching anything with duality in it, any Hollywood movie, take your pick. It's all about good and evil. So that's where our lives have, when we decided to partake of the apple, of course that's a parable, but when we decided to do that, we chose the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So you have good and you have evil, and you're watching it, but it is not necessarily about the Redeemer, the light, the Word, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, as he revealed to me his name. He has many nicknames, and we could go into that for hours, but what I wanted to point out is that you have good and evil, And when you're watching a movie, I remember being little and watching, and I just wanted I wanted the good guys to win. I wanted the good guys to win, okay? And I thought I was a good person, and it made me feel good that they won in the end and all that. But what you don't get and what they leave out is that you have that, and then you have the Redeemer, okay? All good things can lead to the Redeemer, or they can lead to a false Christ. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't have the scripture with me. My Bible, I was blessed with the King James 16:11. He actually answered my prayer, the Lord did, and I got a 16:11. And I didn't bring it with me. I only brought the printout of Enoch, because Enoch, of course, isn't in the 16:11. I do not know when they took Enoch out, but they are going to have to face the Maker for that as well, for having removed, very important. And so I will say that I see a motivation and a manipulation of removing Enoch for mainly, I see one reason. There's many reasons, I'm sure, but one of the reasons is so that nobody would stand up and argue that they're going to profane God's Sabbaths by adding a day to the year and taking us off of the balance of the sun rising and the moon rising. And I see that one main thing that the Lord showed me, of course. I didn't see that all on my own. But I wanted to also bring up one more thing. If I can find it. I'll know I'll find it. Okay. Okay. It's right here. So we'll go on. Okay. Ariel, the angel, archangel Uriel, not Ariel, Uriel, excuse me, showed Enoch not only the gates of the sun and the gates of the moon, but the gates of the wind. And they even go on to name the name of the moon. There's 4 names of the moon. Okay. And lightning and all those things are explained in Enoch. And I wanted to talk about predestination here. Another, and it is a parable, but in Enoch 45:1, it's the second parable. God says, 45:6, for I have seen and have satisfied with peace my righteous ones, and have placed them in front of me. But for the sinners my judgment draws near, so that I may destroy them from the face of the earth. And I wanted to bring one more thing up. I think it's back here. And in case, also, let me just bring up, I'm going all over the place. I'm all over the place with this, but no, I'm not going to cover that, because I'm sure that's been covered. Please, Lord, align my will with yours, my words, my thoughts. Okay, here it is. They flash to bring blessing and satisfaction. The thunder, and the thunder according to the places where it falls, and all the divisions that are made in lightning. This is Enoch 60:13. So that it may flash, and its hosts how they quickly obey. For the thunder have fixed intervals which have been given to its sound for waiting, and the thunder and the lightning are not separate, although not the same. Through a spirit, the two of them move inseparably. For when the lightning flashes, the thunder utters its voice. And the spirit at the proper time causes it to rest and divides equally between them, because the storehouse of the times for their occurrences is like that of the sand. And each of them at the proper time is held by a rain. And sand, I understand, is the same size molecularly, or, well, not even molecularly, but granularly, it's the same exact size. So that makes sense that it parts out in the same exact. Oh, I know why. This. All right. So here we go. Okay. I know one thing I can cover is Noah specifically. He describes Noah very, very, very well.